Hello, darlings. I'm so happy to see you here today. Today's topic is a great one, which is how to be a better parent, partner, coworker, leader, community member. The list goes on. The information I will be sharing today may change your life for the better, because we aim to make a better world here with our church, and many of our teachings are overlooked or even not known by the vast majority of us. And in order to create and build better relationships, we must work on ourselves from within. And then all of these information that I'm going to share with you will just come naturally, because everything is really intertwined. And so today, I'm going to share with you several different tips on how you can build better relationships. But keep in mind that, like I said, before you can even become that person that will naturally be building great relationships, you must work on yourself from within. And so you can listen to our podcast, you can find guidance in our directions, in our 7 directions. And all of these information that will be shared here is supposed to help you grow in that regard. We are also open to listening to what all of you have to say about different matters. And so I would like to invite you all to share your thoughts with us too through our email, which can be found in our website at churchofclear.org. But going back now to the topic of this audio, the information I'll share will also clarify many of the issues we may be having with our interpersonal relationships, which include relationship with our partner, family members, children, co-workers, etc. By applying the knowledge that I'm sharing with you today, you'll be able to manage those relationships so that you can improve on them and create more peaceful, understanding, and loving ones, and a better environment for those relationships to flourish. And now let's begin with the advice that I have for you today. And the first one is to basically listen, and listen. We have 2 ears for a reason. We are taught to speak and make our point, but we often forget to listen to one another. By listening, you will be able to understand where the other person is coming from, and open communication is a key element on working and healthy relationships. If we reason with one another, we can not only understand, but we can also learn in a lot of ways, in a non-judgmental way. The second advice is to validate other people's feelings. This one is huge, and if this is done both ways, it can drastically change your relationship with your partner, parent, children, etc. And even with your children, if they're small, you can teach them about this too, about validating yours and other people's feelings. It is crucial to us to be heard and seen, and that our experience is validated and not gaslighted. Everybody has their own traumas, triggers, and situations in life where they wish to be understood, especially when you know the person is being honest and they're open to being vulnerable with you. And this is where wise empathy, which is part of our 7 directions, will truly come in handy too, because we do want to validate people's feelings, but we also don't want to be naively misled or blindly misled. But you will know when you're dealing with honesty. The third advice is to show appreciation. Your words and actions as a parent, partner, community member, coworker affect people around you. So make sure you make them worthwhile and show that you appreciate what others are doing for you. It's not just about taking it all in, but it's also about giving. And I'm not saying that giving has to be in terms of material belongings. An honest message can be very powerful too. Praising accomplishments, however small, will make others feel good about doing good, and they will feel motivated to continue doing good. Unlike when they are overly criticized, which tends to have an opposite effect. The fourth advice is to understand that we are all different too. Yes, we are all different to an extent. We all have our own personalities and tastes. So if you're a parent, it's important to respect that in your children. If you're married, it's important to respect that about your husband or wife. No matter the circumstance, this is a very important aspect of healthy relationships. It doesn't mean that you can't do what your parents, partner, etc. want to do. We can learn to compromise, which will be the next advice. But in any ways, by doing so, we will be expanding our minds and consciousness. And so, the fifth advice is to learn to compromise. Compromising is absolutely part of the deal when it comes to building meaningful relationships, because everything may turn out to be a little of a battle of the egos when we're just trying to get into an agreement in different circumstances, and then we end up distancing from each other more and more if we just strictly follow what we like. And so in this case, seek win-win situations when compromising, and keep in mind that it is okay to make others happy while making yourself happy too. The sixth advice is to make time for them, for all these people that you consider valuable in your life. And it is important to make time for those people. It is like a plant that we have to be watering. And I'm talking about healthy relationships here too, because when it comes to toxic relationships, we don't really want to be spending too much energy on those types of relationships, because that's not going to be doing good for you either. And that's why we promote a minimalist view on relationships too, because we only have so much time in our days and life in general to be using it towards people that don't really want the best for you or is consumed by toxic behavior. And on that same line of thought, we should also question our capability of keeping meaningful relationships with 50 people. Like, make time for each one of them. And you may be able to do that through a group gathering, and that may work. But in any case, your partner, your children, your friends, it is important to make time for them. And again, there's only that much time we have in our days to be able to spend with everyone. The seventh advice is to be a good role model. When you are authentic and everything is in alignment, what you say, your actions, what you stand for, you fall into a role model that others will respect and even be influenced by. So just be yourself, and if you can, be the best version of yourself. And that will be a good example to others too. The eighth advice is to respect yourself and set boundaries. While being able to respect others is really important, it is also just as important to respect ourselves too, our capabilities, so we don't burn out. For example, we must respect what we value. If you are not comfortable with something, don't hesitate to say no. Those who care about you and your well-being will understand. And boundaries are important for self-preservation and self-love, and also important to truly be happy and bring your best in your relationships. The ninth advice is to learn to take constructive criticism. Some people are just hard to get through. Those are the ones who have a really hard time listening or don't really know themselves from within. Because when you do, constructive criticism is not seen as a form of threat or attack to our character. Although many people use criticism for that, or as of a reflection of their own flaws. Independently from those situations, we must be open to improving on those aspects of our personality that are stopping us from creating meaningful relationships with anyone. It's very nice to be open to learning from others. And if the criticism is valid, and if we decide to follow it, it may even make us better people. The 10th advice is to learn to clearly communicate your needs. Understand yourself, practice mindfulness, and if something doesn't seem or feel right, investigate. Ask yourself what and why questions. You will notice an emotion, a feeling in the gut, and these are all signals that something is off for you. When you investigate, you'll be able to better understand what is going on inside of you and follow a more rational approach after it. And with that, you'll be able to better communicate your needs and better put it in words. The 11th advice is to understand your triggers and think before reacting. So that one kind of goes hand in hand with the 10th advice, because learning to communicate clearly is also associated with understanding our triggers and our reactions. When we know our triggers and what situations or who triggers them, we learn to be less reactive with not only our words, but our actions too. So use mindfulness practices like meditation to bring awareness to those triggers. The 12th and final advice I've got for you today is to build others up. Well, last but not least, right? Let's be better towards our community members, to our partners, to everyone around us. Let's build others up. I know it is easy to compare and feel jealous if you're not getting the same experience in life, but we first ought to remember to never compare ourselves to others but ourselves. And to be thankful. When we have that, there is no need to bring others down. On the contrary, we will want to lift others up. And can you imagine if we were all like this with one another, if we all followed those advice I shared here today? I'd like to point out that if you've tried all these tips and you still can't get to a healthy relationship with someone, like you don't see a reciprocity or the other person doing the same for you, this relationship may be toxic. And there's not much else you can do until that person realizes it, him or herself. And so, don't hesitate to distance yourself, or if you can't avoid that relationship, set very clear boundaries so you don't feel constantly disrespected. And if you think someone would be interested in hearing this audio, don't hesitate to share it with him or her. Also, don't hesitate to check out our website at churchofclear.org for more information. And I hope to see you on the next one. Have a beautiful day. Bye.